Hello, YouTube, and welcome back to me trying to read every single lost episode creepypasta that I can get my hands on. Today, we'll be reading Are You Afraid of Ghosts? Transparently, I have no idea what this is going to be about. That being said, why don't we just get right into it? Are you afraid of ghosts? I still have some unanswered questions in the back of my mind about a certain antagonist from Skate the Infinity, Ainosuke Shindo, or Adam directly. The only words to describe him are charming, dangerous, handsome, and a sheep in wolf's clothing. And not a wolf in sheep's clothing? Okay. He also did not pay any attention directly and talked smack at anyone trying to go up against him. What if he got too far stealing something valuable and using it to his advantage to get rid of Reki? Well, for now, I have heard whispers in the community about a darker version of episode 12 than what we have today. From the information I gathered, the runtime was an hour long, and Reki was scared to death by his phasmophobia, or the direct fear of ghosts. I wanted to know if the rumors were true or if they falsely remembered something they watched and confused it with the show. I went onto YouTube directly to watch full episodes of Skate the Infinity, and the first result that it showed up with was a playlist containing episodes 1 through 12 in English subtitles only. Except I noticed something that was off. Episode 12 wasn't called Our Infinity. Instead, it was called Number 12 Part Are You Afraid of Ghosts, Reki? I clicked on the last video on the playlist, curious and eager to see what awaits. The video started with no intro. It cut directly to Saya La Luz, where it showed the close-up of 2 birthday candles glowing into the dark background while slowly lighting up, and a pleasant view to be meant. Reki's friends sang happy birthday to him while he gladly blew out the candles. Congrats, Reki. How does it feel now that you turned 17 today? Kojiro said it in excitement while Reki still felt nervous and responded, Well, I'm not sure about it or handling other responsibilities with school, but thanks for being the greatest friends I ever had on my birthday. You guys are the best. Kaoru replied to Reki with excitement. No problem. I'm glad you had a great time. So, who's in the mood for some cake? Kaoru started to cut the cake and placed each slice for someone onto small plates while everyone else got their fair share. It later cuts to Ainosuke's manor, where he is still mad, and tells Tadashi aggressively, Listen here, my servant. I want that red devilish nuisance out of the final race and my life for good. Since he is afraid of ghosts, he will meet with a very rude awakening, you hear me? It showed Tadashi in a worried manner saying, Getting rid of him by using his fears as a weapon? Do you know what trouble you can injure yourself in? I just don't know what's going on because the names keep changing. Shindo shushes Kikuchi rudely and tells him, Once I steal the Befellin ruby, I can use it to my advantage to summon a weary spirit after Reki, and I'll get to enjoy watching him suffer until his heart can't handle all of it. I am starting to have a bad feeling about whatever the two plotted. He mentions a cursed object directly, which will later be used for something important while showing a montage of Adam and Tadashi breaking into a new jewelry shop and stealing the Befellin ruby. Jackpot! Adam shouted in glory and was interrupted by night guards. The two quickly made a run, and the screen faded to black before opening a news report about a robbery in the same jewelry shop where the prized Befellin ruby was stolen. "It doesn't look good for that artifact to get stolen by that person," Kaoru replied to Kojiro, concerned. "What do you mean? About the cursed ruby stolen?" he said back to Sakura Yashiki. While Nanjo was confused about what was happening. "Me too, Nanjo. I'm also confused. This gem offers no benefits when wielded by someone malevolent. Instead, it induces hallucinations and inflicts brutal torment. I sincerely hope Reki remains untouched by its vile influence." It shows a shot of Reki finishing a sip of water from the water fountain when he enters his classroom to get ready to pack up and leave. He noticed something was off. The classroom looked abandoned, and the place where his desk was once there was replaced by a trap door. He went down the trap door only to be in an underground crypt and started to explore the place while feeling nervous, and someone was out to get him. The atmosphere around it felt eerie and off-standing. Then it finally showed a tomb with the same artifact there. He finally saw a young woman wearing a white dress that was tattered and dirty, and when she looked at Reki, she leaps to jump scare him, only for it to snap out of it what was going on by Langa's hand on his shoulder. "You there, Reki? You're daydreaming again before school ends," Langa replied to Reki, being relieved. "Oh, thank God, Langa. It's you. I thought I saw a ghost coming after me." Before Reki could finish what he was saying, Langa replied, "You look exhausted, Reki. Have you slept last night, or were you on your phone all night?" Reki yawned and said back to Langa, brushing it off, "I went to bed at 1 a.m. and I still felt deprived of energy." It cut to a cherry blossom tree before bursting into flames, with black text appearing on the screen before the background became saturated, saying, "Cherry blossoms can be brought to ashes when part of the balance is disrupted." It showed brief shots of Reki in a haunted graveyard holding a dagger in self-defense against a buffed zombie from the two before. The outcome wasn't what he expected. He came back to his senses after hearing a familiar voice. "Stop!" What Reki was holding was a bread knife, accidentally leaving a minor cut on his hand and throwing it at the wall, leaving Kaoru in shock at his wine glass shattered into pieces. It showed a close-up of Reki's hand bleeding from the knife he was holding earlier. Kojiro said while wrapping Reki's hand with the bandages and putting the knife into the sink to be washed, "Kid, you know you're better than this. Be more careful while holding it." "But I'm sorry, Joe. It was an accident, I swear." Reki explained to Kojiro while he was sweeping the shards of the broken wine glass into the trash. Kaoru was disappointed while calmly telling Kian, "Maybe don't hold a knife. Ever. Because of how much of a brain-dead idiot you have to be to nearly get someone killed or cut yourself. Plus, do not give much of a vomit-inducing excuse you have." Kojiro interrupted Kaoru before he could finish what he was saying to Reki. "Kaoru, he is still a child and might be going through hard times, and told me it was an accident. You understand, Reki?" Reki left the restaurant while it was raining, and Kojiro and Kaoru were confused. He left for no reason, and Kaoru told Kojiro in the same disappointed and calm tone, "That vile gem has disrupted his life. He is in danger." Later, a shot of his house at night was shown. It showed Reki in bed being terrified while falling asleep. It showed the previous scene of Kojiro wrapping Reki's hand with the bandages before he noticed something was off. The lights were flickering and heard a loud bang, causing a red blackish rift to open up, showing an alternate side of the restaurant. The rift was open at the left side, and Langa was there, but something was off. He was in the distorted part of the place, and Reki went to confirm him. "Langa, is that you?" Reki asked while going to the rift and going to confront him. And when he turned around next to him, his eyes were glowing cyan and holding a broken skateboard, acting aggressively. Kojiro told Reki to get back to the normal part of the restaurant. He was in a trance to the aggressive Langa hitting Reki with the skateboard so hard causing the floor around him to break, and he was endlessly falling into a bottomless pit before finally waking up while sobbing quietly. His mom, right next to the door of his room, felt that something around her son didn't seem right and he could be in danger. It cuts back to the outside of Silalus again. The clouds outside were more of a white grayish. Inside of it was Kaoru and Kojiro, bickering like always, but the two were interrupted by the sound of glass breaking. Kojiro went to the bathroom to see if the mirror was okay, but he noticed something was off. He sees himself, Kaoru, and Ani Yosuke were teenagers, and a younger Ai Nosuke was arguing with Kaoru while Kojiro defended him and tries to reason with him. The audio around the argument was just mumbled and very hard to figure out, with black text on the floor saying, "Our last time together." He came back to his senses and was horrified by the sight of it. All the mirror shards had eerily rearranged into a heart on the floor, while the mirror frame displayed a message carved into it. Time is ticking away. The volunteers must be chosen to bring the greatest show back. He felt now that the ghost lady or whoever had done that to scare Kojiro didn't want them and their presence was to exact her revenge on them and make them suffer. Still shocked after seeing that scene, I wonder if this ghost could use old memories or fears of the people to torment them. But whatever was coming up, it wasn't good. It cut back to Ainosuke's manor where Ainosuke... What the fuck is the story? It cut back to Ainosuke's manor where Ainosuke, while wearing the stolen ruby, said to the spirit, "How's it going so far, Arrogance?" Arrogance replied, "Oh, nothing but the usual. And give the red and green ones a good scare. I can't wait to find someone to host a grand show. It's almost September, and we haven't chosen anyone." Tadashi looked through the doors of the room, crack, while feeling very nervous. "Oh, this is so bad." Arrogance noticed Tadashi sneaking into the conversation and told him, "Master Ainosuke, someone is dropping into hearing our conversations. Get rid of him." Ainosuke responded to her while leaving the room of the main desk to the hallway. "I'll make sure the dog will be placed back in his cage for a quick nap. Do not worry, he has been a bad doggy and timeout is the answer." Tadashi was flabbergasted by his master, who appeared with duct tape before throwing a tied-up Tadashi into the closet door and closing the door on him. It cuts to the S Arena during the final race where Adam competes against Reki. In a twisted motion of fate, Adam crosses the finish line and wins the race while Reki and his friends watch in pure horror as they lose. Directly for the punishment, Adam tells Tadashi to drag Reki into a haunted cemetery to spend the night there. Reki begged Tadashi to unlock the gate, but he didn't listen. To make matters worse, his skateboard was broken. Reki starts exploring the cemetery to find another way out. Trembling in fear, he places his left hand on his chest, feeling how fast his heart is beating with all of the fog around the area, including faint whispers being heard. It showed a young woman with long hair wearing a black coat while wielding a scythe was there, giving off the vibe of the ghost of Christmas yet to come. "Hello, young fellow," she said in a calm, haunting tone. "I know you wanted to find answers about your fate. Come and take my hand. I'll show you what the seats have laid down for you." Reki, terrified, accepted whatever the lady had to offer. While traveling through the dense fog, he noticed his friends and family members all dressed in black, mourning over someone special they had lost. "Wait, why are they here? Whose grave is that they're mourning to?" Reki asked the lady while scared of the answer he'd get, which shocked him right to the core. What followed next was unexpected and gave me a good fright. How was that unexpected? She revealed the name of the grave, and it was no other than Reki's grave, including the dates where he was born and the day he died. He attempted to run away, but the coffin of his grave opens up, revealing blue flames burning along with skeleton claws dragging him to his burning demise. He begged the lady and his friends to help him, but they did not seem to care about helping him. The music around the area became intense while he was falling right into what he thought was hell. He saw his fate while the smoke was clearing up. He woke up from that nightmare, but something seemed very wrong with his appearance while wearing his pajamas. His hair was much longer, his fingernails had gotten longer, and he started to grow a beard while crying and saying to himself, "I can't take it anymore. This environment around me is a living hell. I can't sleep or even focus on my schoolwork or the things I love to do. My purpose here has no meaning anymore." His moment of sorrow was short-lived when he heard a familiar voice. "Arise and shine, my Shirley Temple. I hope you're ready for the big surprise." It was Adam. Before he could quickly react, he covered Reki's mouth with a cloth laced with melatonin, and he passed out. Meanwhile, at the flower shop where Hiromi was working, the sky outside was the same white and gray as earlier. Nanga was there, handing a letter to him. He opened it and was shocked by the content of it. It read, "Reki's time is up. The grand show will be made later tonight. Try to stop me with your weak attempts. Arrogance." Hiromi tells Nanga to get this evidence to the police while he drives Kojiro, Kaoru, and Mia to the S arena, hoping to save Reki before it's too late. Mia and the rest of the gang separated into the manor and the arena to find Reki. Mia checked everywhere to see if Adam was in the manor, but nothing was found. Just when he thought he would give up, he directly heard someone calling out for help and opened the door. It was Tadashi tied up in the closet. He went quickly to free him. "Thanks for helping me, kind stranger," he says to Mia. Mia responded to him, "You're welcome. Come with me. We don't have much time." The two went to the room with all the camera screens off while one held a walkie-talkie. "Are you there, Cherry? You might want to hurry because it could be too late," he said while holding it and getting a response from Cherry Blossom. "We are on our way, Mika. One part of the arena has Reki tied up and we can't let Adam's plan succeed." Mia saw the screens in the room lighten up with Adam wearing the stolen ruby around his neck, laughing like a lunatic, while it showed the area illuminating with color, but also Reki was tied up but his shirt was missing. Everyone else tuned in to the broadcast of a skateboard competition, but they were proven wrong when they said it was Reki tied up from the pillars and begged for help while Adam wore and flexed the stolen item. Well, well, well. I'm amazed by the number of viewers who tune in because this is the grand finale. I must have seen it. It's a showstopper if you ask me. The unlucky one, Reki Kian, will make his unexpected end tonight. Mia and Tadashi were dumbfounded by what they saw from the cameras. "Hang in there, Reki. We're going to save you," he thought of himself while being concerned. The scene cuts back to Adam and Reki in the abandoned warehouse. Reki shouted at Adam directly, "You vile jester, you're behind all of the torment and torture I went through, just to be part of your shit show. What is fucking wrong?" God damn it. Adam directly places his right hand to cover Reki's mouth and replies, "The little guest of honor doesn't like grand surprises. Sorry for that." The camera directly panned to Reki's skateboard, now broken, meaning that if he had untied and escaped from Adam's paw easily, he could have used his skateboard to flee the scene. But I guess his nightmare foreshadows it, minus the Christmas Carol references. Darling, as much as I'd love to reason with you, will you either go out with a big bang or a perishable one? Adam said while putting a dagger out and aiming it at Reki's chest, terrified directly of what he'd do to him. Reki said to Adam, "Like I said, I'm not making an answer to your question on how I'll die. Why do you have to go out to get rid of me? What immoral sin did I commit to deserve this fate?" Adam giggled and said to him, "Oh, poor Reki. I could mumble about you being weak all day, but with my tight schedule, I can't be late, but also you brought this on yourself, and now you'll pay for your sins. Reki was so confused and asked Adam, "What sins? I didn't do anything wrong." Adam responded to Reki in a whimsical tone. "The ruby I am wearing right now makes me powerful, and I can blind you whatever I want. So, maybe we can put our differences aside for..." Before Adam could finish what he was saying, he heard a familiar voice that startled him and the spirit, and Reki recognized that voice. It was Shadow. "Bombs away!" he shouted, blasting the warehouse doors and letting off smoke bombs, creating a good distraction while Cherry Blossom went to untie Reki and retrieve the ruby. The smoke was cleared up and Adam couldn't find him or the prize artifact. "Looking for this?" Cherry Blossom said to Adam while holding Reki and the ruby. "What? How did you guys manage to find where I was hiding and holding him hostage?" Good question. Adam shouted at the four while being extremely confused. "Me too." "Well, Adam, you are very clever at skating." What does that have? "But with your other plans, it is nothing more than a big fat failure that leads directly to your downfall." Joe smirked and reasoned with Adam directly, and things went better when the police arrived with Langa. Langa pointed towards Adam in disbelief and calmly said to one of the officers, "There he is, officers, the actual suspect who is behind the theft of the Beffelin ruby." Feeling relieved that the episode was almost over and Adam directly finally getting what he deserves here and still watching it intrigued to see how it ends. After the police officers handcuffed Adam, he wasn't handling it very well, but throwing a major fit that he got caught in the act. Later, it cuts back to Reki's POV where he is finally waking up back in his bedroom, where he is greeted by his friends and quite a familiar sight. Langa hugged Reki with tears of joy streaming down his eyes, including Reki telling him, with tears in his eyes as well, "Langa, I am so glad you and everyone rescued me. If it weren't for you, I would be a goner." Kojiro responded to Reki while feeling relieved. "I am glad that you're okay, bro. Honestly, the symbols and clues all led to one person of the jewels theft, including some weight off my chest for sure." What? Kaoru responded to him while holding his fan and noticing the changes he went through. "Since that no good poker face is going to be locked away for a very long time, I feel as well you need to get a makeover, darling. Tomorrow, if I am not busy, I can take you to get your haircut. How does that sound?" Reki responded in excitement while there were sparkles in his eyes. "Oh my god, Kaoru, thank you so much. I'll come back to my former self in no time. So awesome!" Tadashi was now with the gang, sitting next to Mia and responding calmly. "Can you please calm down, sir? I think you're getting a little too excited." The episode ends with two frames that are done in more of a watercolor style, where Reki said, "At the very end, I did clean myself up and didn't have to be feared by the person I hated the most. He was nothing more of a devil, and with a new friend on our side along with me getting back to skateboarding, there is nothing that can stop us now and feel fearless into the endless night." The last two watercolor frames showed Reki getting his haircut with Langa at the barbershop. The two were having a great time, and the next frame showed Reki skateboarding with Tadashi and Mia on a chilly autumn afternoon while the leaves were falling, and nothing more of orange, red, and red orange. And that's the end of the creepypasta. I don't know what I just read. I don't know what happened during any of it. I'm very confused. Let me try to collect the parts of this story to try to make it cohesive. Skateboarding. Skateboarding. Someone wanted to take out their rival, which is, I assume, our protagonist, Reki. In doing so, they decide to steal the Beffelin ruby, which is cursed and haunted. I was under the impression that the ruby needed to be put on the victim for it to take effect. But that is not the case, because the ruby can just be worn by the perpetrator and it just boosts their power while cursing the desired individual or victim, plaguing them with nightmares. I'm assuming draining their energy so that they end up daydreaming and having waking nightmares as well. And from all that, our protagonist loses some sort of skateboarding competition and or race, and the punishment for losing was for him to spend the night at the graveyard, which somehow physically altered him via a dreamlike state, making his nails and his hair grow longer. And that was not a hallucination. Apparently, his hair and nails grew longer over one night and was a permanent, observable change. And he got kidnapped. I think they meant that chloroform on some cloth or a rag was used, but they said melatonin. And then suddenly we are on live television, which was supposed to be showing some sort of skateboarding competition again, but instead showed our kidnapped victim, which apparently could either choose to go out with a bang or a big bang, which I would imagine would be explosives, but all we have is a knife. I think that would be the perishable end. I'm not sure what that means. In which somehow the antagonist thought he had hidden himself well. I wasn't even aware he was hiding. He was broadcasting everything, so that I don't know what I expected. In a quick flash and some smoke bombs, someone frees our protagonist and also somehow manages to steal the necklace that is actively being worn, or at least stole the jewel or gem, the cursed one, that is actively being worn by our antagonist without them noticing. And then the police just show up, and that's about it. I thought they were just going to summon a ghost to scare Reki to death, but instead I have no idea what happened. I still don't know what happened. I don't understand. In a story standpoint, I have no idea what was going on. I don't understand the relevancy. There's so many names. I don't know if there was misspelling, using a second part of the character's name, which was not introduced fully, so we just have to assume they're the same character, that, or every 2 seconds a new character is being introduced, which is extremely disorienting and confusing. I know we don't always want to explain like the original story out, but there's too many names. There's too many names. And the first name, last name structure, fully introduce the character and then decide whether or not you're going to flip between first and last. But if you only give us a first name and then you start referring to them with their last name, or vice versa, without properly introducing them so we can associate the names with that one individual, you get a story that starts with only about 5 characters, and now there's 10 of them, maybe, but your audience who isn't as engrossed in the original content has no idea what's going on. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously, if you're doing creepypasta on more of a niche and smaller show and whatnot, then it's only to appeal to that one bit of audience. But this is really confusing. It's so confusing. Sentence structure and grammatically wise, there's a lot of run-on sentences, there's not enough punctuation, descriptors and whatnot are kind of bunched together, so your run-on sentence has a lot of action in it, and some of those actions aren't specified on what's doing what and how it's affecting whom. Very confusing. In the beginning, it was sheep in wolf's clothing, which would actually be an innocent individual pretending to be dangerous, instead of wolf in sheep's clothing, which would be a dangerous individual pretending to be a safer, softer individual. And from the entirety of this creepypasta, I have no idea which way they meant. Did they mean a walking marshmallow covered in spikes, like a sheep in wolf's clothing? I don't know. it was they don't even have a inkling, a little bit of a hint towards being a wolf in sheep's clothing, because all we know is that they stole something, quite a crime, and is act like trying to torment someone and then kidnap them and try to kill them. I'm not really seeing how they're pretending to be something they're not either, because that's just really confusing. That being said, I rate this one a 1, if not a 0, a 1 out of 10. From start to finish, I am only confused. And I've said that a lot, some of the other readings I've done, but this one I am genuinely confused and a little frustrated trying to read through it, because it is almost incoherent. But on the same vein, this doesn't feel necessarily like a troll pasta. This doesn't quite feel like the cartoon cat little troll pasta that I read all the way near the beginning. This also doesn't feel like a obnoxiously, in quotes, well-written creepypasta like Ruby's Afternoon Snack. This falls in an in-between, and I feel like there's genuine passion, for the most part, with, at the very least, the series that this creepypasta is from. But it's just very hard. So it's a 1 out of 10. I didn't particularly like it. But if you did, please let me know. I'm just so confused. But that being said, I think it's a good time to say that it's bye-bye for now. Bye! Directly.